Hello, how are we doing today? I am there we go. All right, so we are now up on the Jessie at Home Facebook page, the Jessie at Home Crochet Foundry YouTube, and the Jessie at Home Instagram. And Monica says, good morning, Monica, and good morning, Monique. Yay! It's great to see you too. Yeah, for both of you, it's still morning, isn't it? Yeah. Here in Jersey, it is noon. But I know, oh, wait, no, Monique, I think Monique is in the same time zone as me, but I know Monica is out in California. So that's a few hours earlier. And then we have Mr. Knit Bear joined us nice and early at the very start here over on our Instagram. I know normally I used to be doing these on the Crochet Foundry Instagram, and this week we have moved them over to the Jessie at Home Instagram. It's part of the merging of Jessie at Home and Crochet Foundry and everything. Yep, all right, I was right, Monique. Monique is in the same time zone. Okay, so today, just to let you know, I think last week, my streaming software has been updating and doing new exciting things. So like now on Instagram, we are portrait, but on YouTube and Facebook, we are landscape. And I think last week I kept going this way when I was pointing to the left, because in the screen where I see myself, that is the left. But apparently that's actually the right for what you guys are seeing. So am I correct that if I point this way, it is pointing to the left and I am pointing at the QR code? Because I think this is the way I should point when I'm telling you to check the QR code. So sorry if I was getting my left and my right backwards. Okay. Thank you, Monique. So I am correct at this point. All right. So you guys are actually seeing me. You guys are actually seeing me the way I would like you to see me, which is good, but I'm still seeing myself reversed as if I'm in a mirror. But as long as you guys are seeing me the right way and I know which way to point from now on, we are all good. Like I said, they're updating the streaming software, and I guess this was an improvement. But anyway, so that QR code right there on your left side is the QR code to sign up for the newsletter, which comes out on the weekend, and there will be the link to the replay of this live, as well as if we start getting into something I didn't plan to get into and there are additional links I want to give you. If we talk about something and you guys want to know where to buy it, or a design and you guys want to see it, or a designer or whatever, all of that will be in the newsletter that comes out on the weekend. So those things that don't make it into this video make it into the weekend newsletter, and the video will be linked there as well. So today, let's see, how are we? We're 12:03. I still want to give it a couple more minutes. I like to wait like 5 minutes before we really get into everything, just to make sure that people have time to show up. But today we are going to look at the swatches. I made all of the swatches from the Reversible Crochet Sweaters book, just to get a really good idea of how the book was written and all of that. And now, after I did all of that, I took all those swatches and I made projects out of them. So we'll take a look at those. There is, in the description of this video, there is a link to an article on the Jessie at Home site. It's not up quite yet. I had a camera battery issue. Well, actually, I couldn't find the charger for my camera, the charger for my camera battery. I had been taking photos of my finished items and the camera battery died, and I wanted to make sure the photos were really good quality, and my camera is much better than my cell phone for that. And I got stubborn about it. So I was I finally found the battery charger still in the project bag that I took with me to Rhinebeck. So I just charged my camera battery and just took the rest of the photos, just finished right before this live. So I need to edit those photos really quick and toss them into the post, and then the post will be live. So that post that's linked in the description of this video will be live by the end of today. It's just not live yet because the images aren't in there yet. All right, so sorry about that, but they're going to be awesome. You're going to love it, and we're about to see all of it in that right now anyway. So let's see, we are at 12:04, and I think that is close enough to 12:05. I definitely see that people have shown up and everything, so we are good to go. All right, so reversible crochet sweaters. Okay, I love this book. This is awesome. There are when this video is on a replay, there will be a link. There will be a couple links to buy this book in the description of my videos. If I've done any of the YouTube shopping links, then in the description at the bottom it says like shopping or something like that, and you can click on that and it'll show you anything I've tagged that is a product that I've spoken about in the video. So if you want to buy it, you can. So that this book will be tagged in there. It's also, of course, in the article on Jessie at Home, and all of those links are affiliate links usually. Most of those links are affiliate links. The YouTube ones are always, if they're in the video, they're always affiliate links. And you pay the same price you would otherwise. I just get a little commission for being the advertiser. Just like when somebody buys a commercial on TV, you have to pay to put the commercial on TV. You're paying your advertiser. So this way I get paid as the advertiser, and it helps me do free content for you like this, right? So there we go. Awesome book. Absolutely love it. It's a new book, just came out at the beginning of this month. Yes. All right. So let's see here. We'll just kind of go through and look at each of the sweaters, and then I'll show you the swatch I made for this sweater and what I made with this swatch. So one thing I really love about this book, oh, there's so much I love about this book. This is a fab book. Let's see, lots of like graphics, illustrations, schematics to really help you along. Obviously stitch tutorial, stitch instructions. All right, so our first pattern here is the tic-tac-toe light. All right, and let me see, the tic-tac-toe light I made, that was the very first one. Here we go. So this is the swatch I made for the tic-tac-toe light, and I turned this swatch into a reversible bag. So here is one side of the bag, and on the back, all I did was I attached the yarn to the beginning of my swatch, and then did linen stitch or moss stitch, both the same stitch. It has two names. The same length as the swatch to make the back side of this bag. And then I folded it in half, and I seamed it together following the instructions in the book on seaming for two sides. What I did with that was I did the linen stitch along the edge, and a linen stitch is single crochet, chain one, single crochet, chain one, and then on the return, on the next row or round, you put your single crochets in the chain one, and the chain one's above the single crochets. So what I did on the sides was, with one of the colors, I did a row of the linen stitch, single crochet, chain one, and then I skipped a stitch since it was on the side. Single crochet, chain one, skip to the side of the next one, and so on. And then I did it again using the other color, and I made my single crochets where I had skipped stitches. So they're actually two rows. So it's almost like, you see how this is a row of the pink? It's like if I had then gone in and made a kind of sibling row up in the same, attaching to the same white row. If I had then gone in with the white, and I had made a single crochet underneath where these chain spaces are, and then chain one where the single crochets are, and then a single crochet where there's not a stitch, and then chain one here, and then single crochet here. That's what I did along the two sides. And then I seamed it in the way that is explained in the book for seaming a double layered two-sided reversible item. Okay, so I used the book to figure that out, but you could just whip stitch it together. You don't need to be as fancy as I wanted to really make sure that I was following the instructions in the book and doing things the way that it was written so that I could really see how well written the book was. And it is really, really well written. Okay. Like I was able to figure this out from having read the other parts of the book. I made all the swatches first, and then I went back and turned them into items. And so having done that, that's how I learned some of the techniques that I'm using here. All right. And Monique says it's pretty. Thank you very much, Monique. So here is the one side that I made of my bag. And then because it's the double-sided swatch, you just flip it and ta-da, there's the other side. And the back I made is, it's just one layer of the linen stitch. So the back looks the same. But you can see how these seams are kind of white seams and the other seams were pink seams because I used that technique from the book. Okay. And then for the sides, for the straps, I just braided the yarn together. I attached the pink to the side that's more pink. I attached the white to the side that's more white. I braided them a little bit, and then I stuck those two sets together and braided them some more. And this is a little trick I like to do, especially if you're not going to be positive. If you're giving it as a gift or something, you're not entirely sure how long the strap should be. And also if, you want to be able to start from the bag itself. I just made two separate straps, and then I figured out how long I wanted it to be. I wanted it to go like this. I like my bags to be crossbody. And then I just tied a knot where where I wanted my strap to be. And then if it starts to grow as you use it, you can change where the knot is, right? So there we go. That was super fun to make. And I did that with the tic-tac-toe light. All right, and now let me find the next pattern in here. They're long patterns. All right, so the next pattern is wavelength. And all of these patterns, they have a sweater and one or two accessories. So with tic-tac-toe light, it was a scarf. With wavelength, it's this hooded cowl, okay? And let me find my wavelength swatch. I believe that is, yes, a mug rug. So with the wavelength swatch, and the yarns that I used are in the article on Jessie at Home where I am teaching about things to do with swatches. And that article has a lot more of ideas of what you can do with your swatches. And they're not all specifically for reversible. They're actually written for anything. The first part of the article is first I have the review of the book, and then I show you what I made with all of the swatches I made, and then I have lists of all sorts of ideas of what to do with your swatches. And of course, holidays are a great time to take your swatches, turn them into things, and make gifts. Like all of these items I have here, or at least most of them, I'm going to give as gifts. So this is a great mug rug. The swatch, the yarn that I used, just the size of the swatch and everything. I wouldn't make a coaster with this one because it's really kind of big, but by making it a mug rugs tend to be like big enough to put your coffee mug and maybe the little spoon or maybe your snack or whatever. I have, I think last week, maybe I showed off this mug rug, and I had my really big mug, the queen of everything mug. That's like one of those like really big ones, and it fits perfectly on here. And the only thing I did to alter the swatch was I added fringe on two of the ends. This swatch happened to be kind of rectangular, so I added the fringe on the shorter sides to kind of exaggerate the rectangularness of it. All right, and it makes a really fun reversible mug rug. So love that. All right. Then, and so far, well, the first few that I'm showing you are swatches that were all flat, worked in rows. Okay. This one, I was trying so hard. I was like, what can I make with this? Right. And so I was thinking, oh, I'll make like a keyhole scarf. Right. But because I made all these swatches with just leftover yarn that I had, it wasn't long enough to be a keyhole scarf. Like I totally cheated and just ran the yarn through my like sock size round knitting machine and then tripled it like this, right? And so you can see on the back what I did with the actual piece that I ran through the knitting machine. And so it's a tube, and I tripled it, and I was thinking I would make it long enough to be a keyhole scarf, but I ran out of yarn. So I was like, wait, what happens if I, instead of running it through this way like you would a keyhole scarf, what happens if I run it through this way? And I'm like, oh my God, I just invented a keyhole cowl. A slide through. I think I was calling it is a slide through cowl. Isn't that fun? I'm sure somebody else has thought of this. I can't be the first person who have ever thought of making a slide through cowl. But now that I did it, I think I need to like make a pattern or two that's actually a slide through cowl that's made to be, put together like this. Monique says it's too cute. Why, thank you. So yeah, I was trying to make a keyhole scarf. I ran out of yarn, and I'm like, what if I wear it this way instead? And it's a keyhole cowl. And now, because this is a reversible swatch, all I have to do is now I can take this and just flip it, whoosh. Okay, so now there's the other side of the swatch, and I wrap it around. And again, instead of going keyhole like you do with a scarf and choking yourself because I didn't have enough yarn. I refused to lose the yarn chicken. I just, made something different. I now have the keyhole cowl. Where's my other end? Wait, there's one end. Oh, there's the other end. Okay. So I now have the little keyhole cowl that is just way too cute. So yeah, I definitely think I'm going to have to come up with like some keyhole cowl patterns now that I've come up with this idea. And if anybody has actually seen keyhole cowls before, like if somebody else has made patterns for them or you've seen them somewhere, let me know. Or what I was calling it, slide through cowl. It's just, I was like, here's an idea. And like I said, I am sure I'm not the only one who's ever thought of it. I'm sure somebody else has thought of it. So if you've seen them somewhere, share the links with me. I would love to see it. I was just so amused by this idea. Riska76. Oh, that's my roommate from undergrad. She says she loves the color. I'm sure you do. It's totally a cool Gretchen color. And Monique thinks it's pretty and cozy and cute. So yeah, there's my goofball, as my roommate in undergrad used to call me, Goof. That is my goofball pattern there. All right, and then my last pattern in rows. Oh wait, here I am lying. I forgot to show you the sweater that one was from. I got all excited about the goofy little pattern. I skipped one. I'll go back to the one that I skipped, but I want to show you the sweater that one was from. That one, my keyhole cowl, was from the Gridlock sweater, which includes little mitts there. Here we go. Here it is in the other direction. Oops, sorry. I'm sorry, guys, on Instagram. This is the having the ability to do this in landscape and portrait is new to me. So I'm working really hard to make sure that I'm showing everybody the right thing. Thankfully, my screen is showing me both views, and I need to get used to seeing it. All right, so now we have the TikTok. The first one we did was the TikTok Lite. This is the regular TikTok, and TikTok. Sorry, too much social media. Tic-tac-toe. Tic-tac-toe. So this is a tic-tac-toe cardigan. And look, see on this side, the buttons are little stars with a little ear warmer. And then here we go, flipped around. And on this side, the buttons are circles. Isn't that cute? So for the tic-tac-toe cardigan swatch, this is actually a hemp and cotton mix yarn. And hemp is great for washcloths, because like for a face cloth, it's like, is it antimicrobial or something like that? It's not as likely to grow gross stuff on it, right? So you can wash your face, hang it up to dry, use it a couple times, and then put it in the laundry, and it'll soften up a little bit as you use it. And because it's double thickness and the texture of it, you still get the really nice texture to wash your face. So here's the one side, and then here's the other side. Okay. And if you don't know this about me already, linen stitch is like my favorite crochet stitch ever. And it works really well as a border on this interlocking mosaic, because you'll find if you make a swatch of just single crochet and you make a swatch of linen stitch, the linen stitch swatch ends up usually having, if it has like less stitches per inch. No, I'm sorry, it has more stitches per inch. It's got a tighter gauge, right? So whereas if I might start off with a chain of, 30 to make something this size, if I'm just doing straight single crochet across, if I'm doing linen stitch where it's single crochet chain one, single crochet chain one, to make it this length, I might need more than 30 stitches. With the way that the mosaic crochet is kind of doubled up, I found that linen stitch works really well as a border on it. It seems to have a good gauge, that works well, so that I didn't have to do a bunch of math and like measure it and say, okay, well, I get my gauge is 12 stitches per, or 8 stitches per inch, and this is 4 inches across, so 8 times 4 is 32. So I need to get 32 stitches in here. I was able to just use the side, I was able to just use the number of stitches that were already there and do kind of an even crocheting into them without having to do any math. So that was really, really cool. So just a note on linen stitch works really well with the interlocking mosaic crochet. I can't guarantee it will always work like that with everybody's gauge and everybody's hook and everybody's yarn and blah, blah, blah. But it worked for me, and that was nifty. Right? So here is the one side of the face cloth, and ta-da, there is the other side. And I forgot to turn the volume off on my phone. So there you go. That's what you just heard. So now the last 3 patterns, the swatches, are actually made in the round. And she tells you how to make, literally, guys, this is so freaking cool. Okay. So here's the swatch for what I just showed you. This is the pattern for the swatch, right? But here are the photos that go with the swatch. And so for each of the swatches, it's loaded with photos. Okay. It shows you like every step until you get to every step through like the last of the repeat rows. And then you just repeat. And then it shows you, see, more. That was like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 5.5 pages of photos just on how to make the swatch. And then that way, when you're ready to make the sweater, you have a really good handle on how to do the stitch. So not only are the swatches in this book, useful for your traditional swatch uses, which is you making sure your gauge is right, it also is really the best way to make sure that you really solidly know how to make the stitch. So now we have the swatches, and she's showing them here. And if I show them up to you close, you might be able to see, especially in the lighter color one, you see how there's those little black dots that she's put on here? That's because she's explaining to you exactly how to count your stitches to get your gauge correct. Okay, so she's showing the ruler. She's showing you how to count the stitches. She's giving you every bit of information you need to succeed in making these patterns, and not only in making them, but in making them the size that they're supposed to be. All right, so she has given you everything you need. So read. Don't just assume you're going to be fine if you just start at the beginning of the pattern. As with any pattern, you really should read the stuff that comes first. Okay, so there was my little soapbox, my designer soapbox of, please don't get mad at me that it didn't fit you right when you didn't even bother to make a swatch, kind of, all the designers watching are like, yay! All the people who aren't designers are like, but I don't like swatching. I don't like swatching either, but you know what? It's a necessary evil, and it ends up becoming fun. Like, these were fun because I was learning new stuff. And then it was also fun because I got to make cool things out of it. So make cool things out of your finished swatches, and then it doesn't feel like so much work. All right, so now we have the kaleidoscope, and these swatches were made in the round. There we go. I'm getting that so you can see it on both vertical and horizontal there. Turning the page apparently is a difficult thing. And here we have the kaleidoscope on the other side. And so let's see, the kaleidoscope, that was this one. All right, so this is a reversible tube. So you can see the swatch was a tube. This part of my little phone bag, this was all swatch. All I did was smush it flat and seam the bottom. That's it. I smushed it flat and I seamed the bottom. And then I added the strap. And for this strap, I made one of those, some people call it the long tail crochet. You use 2 different strands of yarn. You can use like them both from, you can use like the 2 ends of your yarn ball, or in this case, there were 2 colors. So, I used one color to make a chain, but before I did the yarn over, I wrapped the yarn the other direction with the other color. So you yarn under and with the other color, and then you yarn over with the main color, pull through everything. Yarn under with the opposite color, yarn over with the main color, pull through everything. And that gives you this little extra bit of color. So on one of the straps, I used pink as the main color. On the other strap, I used green as the main color. I just started them attached to the bag and made, the ends are just woven in at the beginning of the strap. I could have actually woven them in inside the bag, but because it's reversible, I was just like, I'm just going to have a thick spot on the straps where I wove in the ends, and I'm not going to care. Whatever. And, I made them longer than I needed, and then I put it on and decided how long I wanted the strap and tied a knot and then cut it off. And it works really well for a phone bag. I noticed this one was kind of taller and skinny when the tube was flat. So I was like, oh, look, that's a phone bag. Because when you put the phone in it, it stretches it, right? So it actually is like just the right size for my phone. And that's great. There's still enough room in here that I could slide in, some debit card, ID, whatever, if I just wanted like a quick running out and having my phone in a couple important things. Or if I'm at a trade show, I could toss my room card and my debit card in here and some business cards and all that. So that was a fun one. All right. And 2 more. Where are we? It's only 12:27. We're doing good. All right. La 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 la. La 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 la. Here we go. Tessellation. I love tessellation. I love the word tessellation. It always makes me think of Escher, MC Escher, where's my I usually have an Escher print hanging. And I'm noticing that when I redid my room like 2 years ago, I must not have rehung my Escher print. That is not okay. I have the one of the hands drying themselves. Anyway, all right, so there was a realization. So this is called tessellation. And anyway, that was such an art student like art student squirrel. And there we go again with tessellation. If Gretchen's still on, she's laughing at me. I just want you all to know that. All right. And here is my tessellation. So it was a tube, right? And all I did was, this is the chain that I started my swatch with. At the top of the swatch, there was the light color was facing out on this side, and the darker color was facing out on the other side. So what I did was I simply ran a doubled piece of yarn through, like, over and under the double crochets of the last row of the light color on this side, and then I folded it. I had folded it in half, so then I pulled the ends through the fold so that it was joined and I could pull it tight. I didn't pull it tight yet, because then I went ahead and I did the same thing with the darker color on this side, the brighter colors on this side, right? So I had them through the brighter colors on this side, through the lighter colors on this side, and then I grabbed them and pulled them both at the same time. So the green gathered up here, and I wove in my ends, and the light gathered up here, and I wove in my ends, and I made this really cute little reversible baby hat. So whichever side you wear it on, it's still long enough to be able to fold it, right? You can wear it on this side, or you can wear it on this side, and you have like the right color gather on both sides. It was just, when I looked at this swatch, it's like, this is what it wanted to be. And this is also, it's the Universal Cotton Supreme Waves is the yarn. And it is just like perfect for a baby hat. It's nice and soft. It's cotton. So even though it's double thickness, since it's cotton, it's not too hot, and it breathes, and it's just freaking adorable. And we have, that is so cute. I love the colors and texture. Me too. And normally I wouldn't use two variegated yarns together, but in this situation, they actually, with these specific variegated yarns, they actually worked well, because if you look at it, you can see the both variegations a little better on this side. You see how this one, it's always got this light white base, this kind of, yeah, it's pretty much white base. And then it's just got lighter colors in it. So here we start with a tan and it goes down to a pink, but it's always going to be this light color. At the end, it's just going to be different shade. It's going to be a light pink, a light tan. I think there's like a really light blue and a really light green as you go through it. And then this one is bright colors, and they may actually be, it might actually be the bright colors in this one might be the same colors that are kind of one of the three strands that are kind of speckled into the other one. I don't really remember, but the one that I used for the bright colors, it's so bright that it still works having two variegated colors together. But most of the time when you're doing a mosaic kind of thing like this, you would only want one of the colors to be variegated. I just happen to find one of those very few exceptions when it works with both of them being variegated, you know, because I like to confuse you by doing the things that don't normally work. All right. And did I ever, you know, I don't know that I ever showed you the other side of the phone case now that I think about it. So let me show that to you real quick. Sorry about that. All right. So ready? Da, 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 whoosh. Da, da. And no, I don't think I showed you this one because I love this side of it. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And this is something when you're doing one of the stitches that has this little like peek through here, the squares with the peek through, it's definitely, I really think that the light color works better on the peek through, because if it's the dark color that's peeking through, it just looks like a shadow. Like if I'd use the colors in the opposite direction, the opposite way, then the green inside the white inside the pink would have probably just looked like a shadow. So that is what I found. Most of the time it's better to have the squares as the darker color and the lighter color as the peek through. All right. It's the same idea as this one where the squares are the dark blue and the white is the peek through. This one, because it's so much looser, might have worked the other way around, but still, I like it that way. All right, so now there's just one left. And this one, it's so cool because here we go. Oop, I passed to the photos. This is Equilibrium, and I love the colors she used, right? So here you can see it kind of has like vertical stripes. And then the other way, it has horizontal stripes. I love the colors she used. This one actually has two accessories. One is the cowl and one is the beret, is the hat. So the sweater itself, let me find a picture. Okay, here you go. The sweater itself does not, that cowl is not part of the sweater. It's a separate piece. So if you don't like cowl neck sweaters, don't worry. It's not a cowl neck sweater. All right. And then this is what I made, which is you can have two purposes. You can keep it straight up like this, and it can be a can cozy, right? Either direction. I'll tell you what I did in a moment. Okay. Can cozy. Woohoo. Or you can fold it over a little bit like this, and it's nice. And this one is really stiff, this particular swatch. So it can make its own little standalone basket, like stand by itself basket. And all I did was I just made a flat circle. Okay. So I just made a circle that ended, I think this swatch started with 50 stitches. And so I made a flat circle in half double crochet, which is multiples of 8. So I made a flat circle that ended with 48 stitches, and then I just seamed it onto the bottom. And when I did that, I just at two like opposite points, I made the bottom circle go through 2 of the stitches on the top to take up the fact that there's 2 stitches difference between 48 and 50, right? Once I did it and I realized that, you know, the same number of stitches doesn't always mean it's the same, because this stitch is kind of the mosaic is kind of pulled tighter than the stitches around here. I probably should have stopped 1 or 2 rounds earlier and then just gathered more stitches in so that my bottom wasn't peaky. Like it's a baby doll hat kind of, but I was like, okay, whatever, it still works. But if I were going to give this as a gift, then I would definitely have remade the bottom with less rounds, and I would have actually done, as Monica says, there must be a lot of math when you're doing these projects. I would have like sat this down and measured what the diameter was and like done the math and all of that sort of stuff. But I wasn't doing that with the swatch projects. And this was the only one that ended up going wonky on me. So I think that's pretty good that this is the only one that went wonky on me. Only 1 out of 7, right? So what does Monique say over here? Again, with the pretty colors. Yeah, well, it's all scrap yarn from various other projects I had. So I had sets of colors that went well together already from various things I've done in the past. So there we go. That's what I did with all of my swatches. Gretchen says something about 2 years ago. I don't remember what I said that made her say 2 years ago, but apparently there was something I did 2 years ago that she's laughing at me about. I'm not surprised. All right. So there you go. That's what I did with all of those swatches. I know last week we discussed, it was either last week or the week before that we discussed, I think it was the week before, we discussed some various things you can do with swatches. It was when I was still in the process of making all of these, and I wanted to get ideas into that post. So that article is going to be up on Jessie at Home by the end of today. So the link is in the description of the video, but if you click it now, it'll probably say like page not found 404. Don't stress. It'll be found by the end of tonight. I just need to finish getting all of the photos edited and in there, and make sure I didn't forget to give you links. Like there's the link for how to make a flat circle that really would have been flat if this wasn't pulling it in. And of course, more links for where you can buy the book. And like I said, tons of ideas beyond these, and not and ideas that work for swatches of various shapes and sizes that are not always reversible. Oh, Gretchen's laughing at me because when I redecorated and I only now noticed that I'm missing my Escher. Yeah, it's a squirrel moment. It took me 2 years to notice that I didn't rehang the Escher. I probably at the time was like, oh, because I'm looking exactly where the Escher should be. Like there's a space right here that would be perfect for the Escher. And I don't know why I never hung it up. But I have a whole bunch of prints and paintings and stuff back there that I'm sure, like if I flip through it all, I'll find the Escher in there waiting to be hung. Yeah. So let's see. I think today might be short. I was trying to make sure I ran through everything. Unless anybody has any like questions or, you know, hey, I've got this swatch, what should I do with it? I should let you know, obviously, well, the QR code that is up there is for the newsletter. I'm going to change it right now, though. All right. So here we go. The QR code is going to be for, I typed a 16 instead of a 6. Let me fix that. Okay. So the QR code that I'm about to change, hold on, I haven't changed it yet. 6 to 8. That should be it now. Oops, there we go. All right, so that QR code up there on the left side of your screen is the QR code, is the link for tonight's sit and stitch. It is from 6 to 8 p.m. Right now it's about 20 till 1 Eastern. So that is like just a little under 5.5 hours from now is when the sit and stitch is tonight from 6 to 8 Eastern time. That QR code up there will take you to it. Okay. So, and also the link is in the newsletter, and I'm about to show you where you can find it online. So now I'm going to switch the QR code back to, there we go. That QR code is now the QR code for the newsletter again. So if you are not on the newsletter, go ahead, click that and sign up for the newsletter. And I am going to show you where you can always find our schedule of whatever we are doing. So let me switch to this view. Ta-da! Okay, so this is jessieathome.com. And when you're looking at jessieathome.com, we have this little navigation menu. If you are brain fried. If you're on mobile and you go to jessieathome.com, you don't always, a lot of times you don't actually see the navigation menus. On mobile, there's usually the little 3 lines, aka the hamburger menu. You click on that and it will drop down the menu. And the very last thing on here says events. So if you click on events, it's going to bring up the calendar. Okay. And since I just added this, there's nothing on there until the 19th. So here we go. But you can see that as you go through, I have filled it out through, I think all the way until April, I think is how far I filled it out for. So we've got all of that. You can also switch it to a list view or a day view. Up here, you see how you can just switch it over and see a list of just the events if you just want to see what's coming up next. Everything's slower. Here we go. Everything's slower when I'm doing a live stream. But you can see now this just shows you the events. And right now, all I have on here are my Wednesdays, the lunch with Jessie's and the sit and stitch Zooms. But when you go to any of those, wherever you go from, like here, we'll go ahead and we'll click on today's Zoom. You can click on it from the calendar view. You can click on it from the list view. You can click on it from whatever view you want. It gives you the link. Okay, so here is where your registration link is. You can add it to your own calendar, Google, iCalendar, Outlook 365, Outlook Live. So you can add it to your own calendar. And that's one of the reasons why I do the register here also, is because when you do this, it also Zoom adds it to your schedule. So when you register for one of the sit and stitches, it does like take your email. I'm not doing anything with those emails. I'm not even adding you to the newsletter list if you're not already on it. All that does is it gets you the reminder of when the sit and stitch is about to start, the one that Zoom automatically sends. Okay, it gives you the Zoom reminders, and it gives you, and it emails you the Zoom link before it's time to start. So that's all that does. Once the Zoom meeting is over, if you've registered, I haven't even looked onto how to find those emails. I don't do anything with them. I have it, and I have it set to dump them. So it just gets rid of them. It doesn't give them to anybody, anything like that. So don't stress about having to register. It's just to make it easier for you to add them to your calendars and to get the reminders and everything. So yeah, so there we go. You can then go back to all events if you want to, but that is how you find what's going on, find the links to everything. So whenever you want to know what's going on today, what's going on next, just go ahead to jessieathome.com and then click on events in the main navigation menu, and you will get the calendar. I am going to add other things to this, like if I'm going, like when I go to the Fiber and Fabric Craft Festival in April, which is in Chicago, and it is a retail consumer event, so y'all are allowed to go. It's not one of those professional onlys thing. So that'll be on here. All of that sort of stuff will all be on here as well, once I get it all going. All right. And and you can even subscribe to the calendar through lots of different ways. So there you go. That's that. And let me go back to here. There we go. Yeah, I think we're good then. I told you about how to get your links, and we looked over the super fun swatches, and yeah. So I will see you. Oh, if you are one of the lucky people like I am, and you are getting the twice sheared sheep, this is the twice sheared sheep special tin from Rhinebeck. But if you are getting the twice sheared sheep advent calendar that has fun, different knit and crochet tools and such for the 25 days of December leading up to Christmas, those have started shipping. They ship them in batches because there's like, I think close to 2,000 of them or something. There's a lot. So they ship them in batches, but they have started the shipping for those. Mine hasn't come yet. I must be in a later batch, but they're going to be coming soon. And then we're all going to have to try to be really, really well behaved and not open anything early. I will be opening mine on each of the 25 days. I'll do a quick little live just on the Jessie at Home Instagram. So make sure you're following Jessie at Home on Instagram to see the little lives every morning of the twice sheared sheep advent calendar that I will be getting. And that will be through day 1 through 25 of December. All right. So there we go. I will hopefully see a whole bunch of you in just over 5 hours at our sit and stitch. And thank you so much for joining. I will see you tonight and or next week. Oh, wait, there's still one more comment. Sorry, let me go and check. Oh, Monique wishes that she was getting the twice shared sheep. Maybe next year, Monique. You never know. You know, the twice shared sheep advent calendar. So we will see you soon. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.